dimension of freedom, a dimension of joy. You're moving into the land of both the ideal and the real, of the possible and the actual. You've just crossed over into the Capitalist Corner.
Where reason meets reality, welcome to the Capitalist Corner.
Welcome to the Capitalist Corner, indeed. I am your host, Michael Leibowitz, and I am riding solo today. We have an abundance of topics to discuss. Just want to let you know I have an awesome interview out right now with James Stevens Valiant. We had a great discussion on the chapter Man from OPAR, Objectivism, the Philosophy of Ayn Rand, using it as a guide to self-improvement. I really think you should all check it out. And please don't forget that at 2:30 today, 2:30 Eastern time, I forget there's other time zones. I'm very self-centered. 2:30 p.m. Eastern time today, that'd be 11:30 Pacific. Persephone will be joining me for Everyday Ethics, and today we will be tackling Nathaniel Branden's 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, and I think it'll be a very good discussion. And remember, please, that we absolutely love super chats. We love super stickers, and they are very, very appreciated. We have no goal yet because Persephone dropped the ball. But I'm hoping that she'll come up with a goal and a prize and we can figure it all out. But the first thing I want to talk about is, you can see in the title, I've said that too many Americans believe absolute garbage. So every time I go on X, I come across an abundance of posts from people with, 500,000, 1 million followers, claiming that the country is being run by a cabal of satanic pedophiles. And they claim now that this has been proven. It's absolute codswallop, right? It's just not true. These people, they're reading through this, we'll get into the Epstein stuff in a little while, but they just don't understand what they're looking at, or they're just lying, one or the other. But I got to thinking, well, maybe this is just my feed. Right? Maybe this people don't actually believe this stuff. So what I did was I went to 3 separate large language models. I went to Claude, I went to ChatGPT, and I went to Grok, and they all answered exactly the same. And so my question was this: what percentage of Americans believe the people running the country are satanic pedophiles? From Grok, around 15% of Americans agree with the idea that a group of Satan-worshipping pedophiles controls the U.S. government, media, and financial institutions. And they give a sort, there's a couple, polls that were done. I guess the last one was done in 2022. So maybe this is even risen since then. So according to, I believe this is Claude, I think this is Claude, it says, yes, there are reliable polling data on this topic. And it says, what polls have found? In a Public Religion Research Institute, PRRI poll, about 15% of Americans agreed with the statement that reflects a core QAnon-linked conspiracy belief, specifically that the U.S. government, media, and financial worlds are controlled by a group of Satan-worshipping pedophiles who run a global child sex trafficking ring. Now, so let's see this. This one here, this I'm pretty sure is, I don't know. I might have mixed them up, and this one comes from Claude. Who the hell knows? But they're Claude or ChatGPT, and this one says, I don't have reliable recent polling data on this specific belief in my knowledge base. Let me search for current information on this. And it cites the same poll. And then it goes on to show that 23% of Republicans agreed with this statement. 14% of independents agreed. The research also found strong correlation with media consumption patterns among those who most trust far-right news outlets like One America News Network and Newsmax. 40% agreed with the satanic pedophile statement, while 18% of those who trust Fox News held this belief. These polls were conducted from 2021 through 2022, so exact percentages today may have shifted somewhat. Does anybody else find it a little bit concerning that 15% of the country think that satanic pedophiles are running the place? I mean, this is not like, this is batshit crazy, right? And it doesn't matter. Evidence doesn't mean anything. Okay, we've got Steve says, how many Democrats believe the cabal is billionaires? I don't know, dude. This is something else that's been driving me crazy today. Anytime you point out anything about any side of the political aisle, somebody comes on and assumes you're defending the other side. Like this morning, I posted something about immigration. Yeah, well, how many people did Obama deport? Too fucking many. That's my answer, right? So when you ask how many Democrats believe the cabal is billionaires, too fucking many. That's the answer, right? It's a pro-capitalism show. Every day we're here promoting free markets. Obviously, Democrats are not the party of free markets. We could spend all day criticizing the Dems. That's fine. But to me, I gotta say it's more disturbing that people believe that it's satanic pedophiles running the place. There's been this post going around and this claimed vindication from this supposed, this model in 2009, had some kind of a mental break, and she's out in the street screaming about cannibalism and they're eating people and shit like that. And they're like, aha, and they claimed she was crazy. But now we know the truth. No, we don't, you stupid bastard. That's not fucking true what you're saying. Come on. I mean, like, I've been trying not to swear, and I've been getting better. But how do you not swear at this? And these people, 15% of the country, that means when I go out and I'm in a store that's full of hundreds of people, there's like 30 of them in there that believe this. And then how many in there think that capitalism's a bad thing, or that the billionaires are running the country and destroying everything? What about the billionaire satanic pedophiles out there? And the mass cannibalism. Nicki Minaj, all of a sudden the darling of the Republican Party, by the way. Where was the moral majority when Nicki was shaking her ass and rhyming about anaconda? I don't know. I don't imagine that they were using her as their poster girl, but now that she says what they like, of course, they love her. She's wonderful. She's the bee's knees. But she says that they're sacrificing their children. I mean, it's just weirdo shit. Weirdo. Now, I don't know if this stuff has been popular for a long time. I don't know if it's just with the advent of social media. What I do know is that it's disturbing. It's disturbing how many likes they get. It's disturbing how many shares they get. And it's just disturbing that people believe this nonsense, right? I have to do this. I see that Persephone has not done it. Persephone is Persephone gets a lot of credit around here, but I got to be honest. There's a significant amount of slacking because I have to now share this with Mark Pellegrino because he's got the bigger audience. Let's face it. I'm just some jerk on social media, right? Mark is a famous actor, so I got to send this to him, and then he'll share it, and we'll get a bigger audience. Persephone, what is the look of disbelief on your face that I would throw you under the bus and blame you for things that's not your fault? Let's see. Go ahead. Voice your concerns.
I mean, since when is this my job? Since when is sharing with Mark my job?
Never, but I didn't want to take responsibility for it. It was my fault, but it was easier to blame you.
It's fine. I accept responsibility. I accept the castigation for not sharing with Mr. Pellegrino.
Well, I got to tell you something. Persephone, you are awesome. You are wonderful, and we are so fortunate to have you on the show here. And everybody should tune in today for Everyday Ethics to hear the insights of Persephone, not Penelope. Not Penelope. And not a thirst tweeter. Well, I don't know. Maybe she is. Either way, so yeah, on top of this, lunacy, there's a big fascination with the Epstein business. And people don't seem to grasp that when 3 million pages or whatever it is of raw data are released, you're not, as your average schmuck on the street, sifting through that and determining fact from fiction. You're just not doing it. First of all, you're likely not trained. Secondly, there's way too much noise. Yet, people go through there, they put a keyword, the thing comes up, and they're like, ha, I'm proven right, look at this. And what's really, I don't know if it's even can be called strange anymore, but the Trump people are all claiming Trump has been completely vindicated, but yet, they're the people they hate are, proven to be whatever, pedophiles, sex traffickers, all kinds of things. But the stuff says horrible things about Trump too. But that, I guess, is dismissed. And then on the flip side, you have people posting all about Trump, but they're not posting about the other people. Look, if there really is this cabal of pedophiles out there, then just lock them all up. I don't have a side. Like, who the hell has a side? I want the sex offenders from the other party locked up immediately. The ones on my side are good. Let's just keep electing them to office because they're making America great again. No, and I'm not accusing anybody. Look, I couldn't make heads or tails of these files if I tried to, nor do I have the inclination to do so. I think there's far bigger problems in the world. I don't know where this obsession with this stuff came in, but it's there. But it's not occupying my head. Persephone says, people highlighting completely normal emails as clearly dodgy because they contain these secret phrases. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, from the free press, can government do anything right? Anything? I mean, come on. Like, in this weekend's release of over 3 million documents in the Epstein files, the names of at least 43 victims were accidentally revealed. The Justice Department is required to redact all names and has since begun removing and re-uploading the files to preserve the victims' privacy. Now, of course, there will be those who are going to say this was done on purpose because these people are all part of the secret cabal. But I ascribe to Hanlon's razor. Never ascribe to malice that which can be explained by incompetence. They tax pretty well. I don't know, race. I mean, I know they put taxes on, but there's a lot of evaders that seem to get away with it. So I don't even know how well they do that. I lived in a government institution for a quarter century, so I really got to see how incompetent these people are. And let's just say I'm happy the government isn't in charge of who gives super chats and super stickers to the show. And yes, you could take that as a hint. It's an obvious one. I'm begging for money. It's kind of what I do. What else do we got here? Wow, I'm only 13 minutes in. I feel like I've been running my mouth for hours. And Persephone's laughing her ass off in the I don't know what the hell that is. The gallery. I don't know. The waiting room. The virtual waiting room, all aboard the struggle bus today. Are you making fun? Persephone threw me under the bus this morning. She threw real shade at me in an email. I do a lot, and I forgot to send her the video from Everyday Ethics yesterday. So I get to roast email this morning about how I'm slacking and I didn't send it to her and I'm screwed up. Now, remember when I just asked her today, at the time, Persephone, I need clips. She went on the air and called me a dick. Remember that? Jenna Cleem. Thank you so much, Jenna. Very, 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 very appreciated the $5. Now, just so everybody knows, we do have a contest going. Maybe if I tell them this here, though, they won't give whatever, who cares? We have a contest going for Everyday Ethics where if we raise $150 in super stickers and super chats this week, I, for 1 week, will have to wear a pair of headphones that are exactly like Persephone's. So if you're interested in that, go to Everyday Ethics and donate some dough and you'll see me put those on. Where's this thing here now? See, this is where I need somebody else with me. Oh, okay. Donald Trump on his stupid little Truth Social thing. Persephone's laughing. Why are you laughing? We're just going to make Mark do it? I don't know if Mark's stash could handle those ears, though. Either way, let's not throw Mark under the bus. He's very busy doing nothing. I mean, working right now. He's, whatever, acting or pretending. I don't know. I see all kinds of posts of him with blonde hair and a mustache, and he says he's working. But maybe he is. Who knows? He's a good guy. He's very wealthy. He and Rosie Ginsburg. I'm not, which is why I'm here begging for money. But anyways, so Donald Trump says, people are saying that Thomas Massie became a liberal. Thomas Massie, not a liberal. Because his new wife, blessed be their marriage, is supposedly a radical left flamethrower. This new union all went so fast, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Massie's wife died. Can you look that up for me, Persephone? I think Thomas Massie's wife died and he got remarried, so Trump has taken some shots at the quickness of the marriage. The new union went so fast that maybe he didn't know what he was getting into, but nevertheless, he is an absolutely terrible and unreliable Republican, perhaps a rhino, or maybe even worse. Ed Galbraith, a farmer and war hero, is running against Massie. He is a high-quality individual, and there's no candidate for Congress that could be better. He's running because he realizes Thomas Massie has been totally disloyal to the President of the United States and the Republican Party. Here's a hint, asshole. When people are elected to Congress, or the presidency, or anything else, their loyalty is supposed to be to the United States of America and the United States Constitution, not to your buffoon orange ass, or to your stupid party with the big dumb R next to it. Thomas Massie is a complete and total disaster. But if you remember, Trump went after the spouses of Ted Cruz. He went after Mitch McConnell's wife. He went after Nikki Haley's husband. Why doesn't this bother people? Why aren't people bothered by this bully attacking the spouses of his opponents? I mean, like, aren't we supposed to hate bullies? But the thing is, what I'm thinking has happened by and large. I think there's a large contingent of people who support Trump who got picked on in high school. Maybe they couldn't get laid. I don't really know what the issue is, but they feel like Trump is fighting for them. He's, like they're vicariously living through him. And when he talks tough, they're like, yeah, but I got news for you. Much like you, Trump is not tough either. He's really not. It's all bluster. And going after the spouses of your opponents is very low. Very, very low. Especially when what you're saying about the guy isn't true. No, I'm not here to defend Thomas Massie. I just know he's not a liberal. I probably disagree with him about an abundance of things, but he's still no liberal. But of course, in MAGA land, all somebody has to do is disagree with you, and they're quickly a liberal, if not a communist. So, that's the thing that they do. He can do no wrong in their eyes. He's their bully, says Persephone. The enemy catboy race calls me. Now I got to look through more of this stuff. See, this is why I need somebody else here with me to help. Okay. What's this woman's name? Jeannie Pirro, the former talk show host. Now she's something. What is she? The district attorney for D.C. Persephone, can you find that out for me, her exact title? But this is what she said. You bring a gun into the district, meaning Washington, D.C., you mark my words, you're going to jail. I don't care if you have a license in another district, and I don't care if you're a law-abiding law owner somewhere else. You bring a gun into this district, count on going to jail, and hope you get the gun back, and that makes all the difference. U.S. Attorney for D.C. So the U.S. Attorney for D.C., the conservative, the Trump appointee, the Second Amendment's out the window with these people. You should have taken a hint when he said take the guns and then give due process. But evidently you don't, because you don't care, because you're not principled. Because principles don't matter in the world where tribe goes above everything. Oh, Jeanette, thank you so much. How about my chipped tooth? Anyway, Persephone's looking confused. I just smiled, and when I smiled, I saw the chip in my tooth, and I was, Race. DC is not only threatening gun grabbing, they're threatening jail if you carry a gun. Now, let me gather this up here, because maybe I'm a little off now on my constitutionalism. Maybe my constitutional bona fides have been lost, and instead Jeannie Pirro and Donald Trump are on the right side here. But the Second Amendment, Amendment 2, United States Constitution, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Shall not be infringed. It does not say if you go into D.C. and Jeannie Pirro doesn't want you to have a gun, she can take it and she can jail you. It does not say that. These fucking people are not constitutionalists. They're not pro-freedom. They're not pro-capitalism. It's a lie. And I wish that they would just have the testicular fortitude to say what they really are. Second-rate tribalists who just hate the woke people. That's it. You're nothing more, because you're not principled. You're not trying to save the country. You're destroying it. Now, I'm not saying Democrats. I mean, look, Obama, when he was in there, was as close to a socialist as anybody I could have ever imagined would have been elected in America. When I used to hear him speak, I used to cringe. When he talked about, you didn't build that, it was disgusting, gross. When he talked about spreading the wealth around, gross. When he implemented Obamacare, gross. No love for the man, no love for the party he represented. None. But he's not in power now. So while he did help to erode our Constitution, and while Trump in his first term did more, and then Biden came along and did more, now Trump is taking it to another level. So you can save your whatabouts for some asshole who doesn't know better. Because I may be an asshole, but I do know better. And these people are not pro-Constitution, they're not pro-freedom, they're not pro-country, they're not pro-America. It's that simple. And, what else can I say? Like, what else can you say? How many times can you say it? Maybe what I'll do is this. Persephone, you say it. Just say they're not constitutionalists, and I'll let you go back to doing your nails or whatever it was.
They're not constitutionalists.
Thank you, Miss Persephone. And Miss Persephone never lies. All right, let's see what else we got here. Slide over to here. And documents. This I thought was a very good article that was in the Axios. And it said that you can only fully understand politics, business, and your own anxiety in 2026 by reckoning with the three once-in-a-generation shifts unfolding at once. No, that's complicated, Ian. No, I wouldn't say federalizing elections would be constitutional. The Constitution gives certain criteria where the federal government can do stuff, but ultimately it's a state thing. The three big shifts are in the ideologies, tactics, and tone of governance. So this goes to, the ideological shifts. The Republicans no longer really even pretend to be free marketers or constitutionalists or pro-gun. We can see that. Pro-free speech. Don't give a shit about that either. The Democrats now are weird in that in their opposition to Trump are sometimes defending free trade and sometimes defending the Second Amendment. Very, very interesting. The tone, of course, is just off the chains with the way that in our political class that these people now speak. Gavin Newsom's out there doing his best or worst Donald Trump impression. I don't know how you want to put it. I remember Marco Rubio tried that in 2016 in the primary. Didn't go too well for him. But yeah, people mistake boorishness with being authentic. But you can lie and be boorish as easily as you can lie and seem sophisticated. It doesn't, there's no correlation there. The next thing that, and also the tone of governance there, and I'm imagining what they're referring to is the way in which the executive orders are coming through, the violations of the Constitution that are accelerating, that sort of thing. And then the lightning fast advancements in AI. I mean, as I referenced at the beginning, I went to the three. Claude, what's the other two? ChatGPT and Grok are the three that I use. I also use Google, but I didn't use it for that. But AI is expanding rapidly. That has consequences. I actually had an argument this morning with Claude. I submit when I have debates, I submit them for analysis to the various AIs. There's three that I use, like I said, Claude, ChatGPT, and Grok, and I have them analyze the debate. So there was a specific debate that I had, and Claude came out and it said that I had won, but there was some dismissive language on Claude's part that I didn't really care for. I thought he was being a bit of a jerk. So I asked Claude, "Do you think you could have done better?" And Claude said, "Yes, I can win this debate." Then Claude proceeded to misrepresent my position once. And when I pointed out, "No, you've just misrepresented my position. That's not it." It said, "Oh, yeah, no, you're right." Then misrepresented my position again. But nonetheless, I had this argument with Claude. Claude ended up conceding defeat. Not quite the debater Claude that he thought he was. But my point is that this AI stuff, it's accelerating. It's very powerful. I'm very excited about it personally. Are there risks? Yeah, but nonetheless, I think it's probably great. And the other thing is the overnight transformation of how our realities are shaped. And the article says this. It talks about information bubbles. And this is the scary thing to me. It says, if you pick 6 random people, and it says both of the people who wrote this article have done this at dinner, you'll often find that most get their information from platforms the others never visit and trust people the others have never heard of. So everybody has their own silos of information. It says the common window we once collectively looked through has splintered into countless pieces. Yes. So when you think about these three things, what's the ideological and tonal shift that's taken place amongst our, and also the strategic and tactical shift that's taken place amongst the political class. You think about AI, and think about with the Epstein case, the AI. They're having altered pictures put up, they're having altered documents put up, in addition to what's been released. The AI affects that; it affects so much, and then the fact that everybody's getting their information from other places. I'm not so pessimistic as to think that we're like beyond the brink and, the world's going to end. It's Armageddon. But I do think that we need to, at least the rational amongst us, figure out a way to deal with all of this. Like I said, 15% of the public believes in satanic pedophiles that are running the country. That's not a coincidence when you think about the various information silos that people have. So I don't know the solution, but for each one of us, I think the starting point is just a firm commitment to being rational, to checking the sources upon which we rely, cross-checking them, engaging in honest discussion and honest debate. I think we have to be committed to doing that if we are going to win this. There's this conversation here that I don't know who did the polling. I don't know what polling we're talking about. I don't know. I'm lost at this point. I've been paying attention here, and over there, you guys are having your own conversation. This guy, the Anthropic CEO, Dario Amodei, thinks there's a 25% chance that AI is going to wipe out the human species. I tend to think that those concerns are very, very, very overblown. Okay, let's see here what we got next. Another article referencing Pirro. It says that what Pirro just made is an unconstitutional threat against every American's right to the Second Amendment on national TV. Trump and his administration are again trying to strip you of a constitutional right. Jeanine Pirro must be fired. She won't be. Trump says that he wants to drive up housing prices. He says, I don't want to drive housing prices down. I want to drive housing prices up. For people who own their homes. And this is from Reason Magazine. And the author of the article, Jared Dillian, says there's two possibilities. The first is that Trump wants asset prices to go up under his presidency. And the argument is that a large part of his constituency are senior citizens, and by raising the price of houses, it will, greatly benefit him. Oh, that's the older voter. I'm sorry. That's the second possibility. The first possibility is just that he wants to raise asset prices, and the second is he wants to cater to his constituency. But first of all, by trying to drive the prices of housing the houses up, he has to interfere in the market, as we saw when he wanted to take Fannie and Freddie $250 million or $1 billion, I don't remember which one it was, and inject it into the housing market. He's also constantly putting and jawboning the Fed to keep interest rates low, injecting more money into the economy. These are not good policies. The problem with Donald, not the problem, but a big problem with, he thinks he can micromanage everything, and his followers seem to think the same. Markets are not that easy to trick. When you start screwing with them, there's unintended consequences that you cannot foresee. You create a housing bubble, maybe it crashes. You put a regulation somewhere else, another product fails. You take the tax money from Americans, they invest less. You lower interest rates, maybe you start an all-out inflationary bubble that ends up bursting and the economy crashes. There's simply too many possibilities, too many things that can go wrong with this type of intervention. Besides which, the economics of it, it's not your fucking business, Donald, to interfere in the markets in this way. We're supposed to be a free people living in a free country, not the country that's directed by Donald's whims. I'm sorry. That's just not what we are supposed to be. Now, let me see. We got other stuff too. Another article from Reason Magazine, and they're killing Trump today. And the problem is Trump sucks all the oxygen out of the room. Whenever he speaks, wherever he goes, he gets attention. And by the way, he likes the attention. But he recently wrote an article for the Wall Street Journal where he said that he has slashed our monthly trade deficit by an astonishing 70. Make markets free again. Abso-freaking-lutely. It looks like we got a new viewer, Ducelis9687. Make markets free again. Love it. So Trump said he slashed the trade deficit by 77%, but according to the article of this, the author of this article, who I tend to think is more credible than the lying president, he says, according to the Census Bureau, the trade deficit did not decrease by 77%, but increased by 37% last month. The other thing is he claims, of course, that foreign companies are paying tariffs. That, of course, is codswallop. He also says when I imposed historic tariffs on nearly all foreign countries last April, the critics said my policies would cause a global economic meltdown. Trump wrote, the meltdown didn't occur, so that must prove the president right. Unfortunately for Trump, and they have this here in the article, is he backed down. Once the market started crashing, he backed down from so many of his tariffs, lowered them. Not only that, But let me find this here. Where is it? It talks about the prices of goods that he has tariffed have actually gone up. And let me find out by how much. Trump raised the average U.S. tariff rate from less than 3% to more than 25%. Those rates declined in the second half of the year and settled around 17%. Economists will tell you that tariffs are effectively wealth transfer mechanisms that take money from consumers and businesses and benefit the special interests. I can't find it here, but nonetheless, the bottom line is that the prices of the goods that have been tariffed have gone up, not down. I think I might have it somewhere else too. Let me see. No, I don't have it. But either way, the point of the matter is the prices of tariff goods have gone up, as economists have predicted. So not a good thing. So now what's happened here is I've gone through all of the articles. So maybe we can get some questions. Any questions from the folks in the audience? That would be very, very helpful. Go ahead, Jeanette. What is your question? Jeanette, 1979. I assume that means she's 3 years younger than I am, but I could be wrong. Any questions? Any questions? Going once, going twice before I launch into a topic that I want to discuss that may not interest anybody. No questions. Okay. So I believe wholeheartedly, and I'm going to use a word that maybe that's the year you graduated. Okay, so Jeanette is older than I am then. We talked earlier about our information systems, and I've talked about how people believe complete bullshit. And there's a member of the audience who used a very apt phrase recently, I believe. If I can find him, I don't know. Ian Gilmore. There he is. And he talked about a broken epistemology. Now, epistemology is the philosophical branch, for those of you who don't know. I don't expect everybody to know this. But is the philosophical branch that deals with knowledge, how we get our knowledge, how we validate it, how we prove things. And I really think that we're in a very bad place epistemologically as a country. I don't think critical thinking is employed. I don't think reason is employed. I don't think most people understand the basic syllogism. And I think this is very, very bad because when you don't have reason and you don't have a proper epistemology, the only alternative is feelings. Feelings of one way or another. I feel this is true. This seems true to me. And I don't know, I'm not here. And I don't like to do that. I don't like to offer criticisms or complaints without offering a solution. But to be kind of maybe crass, maybe is crass the right word or blunt maybe? A friend of mine used to say to me, how do you tell a stupid person he's stupid? Because if he's stupid, he's too stupid to understand that he's stupid. And when you're talking about bad epistemology, you have to filter what you're trying to teach through that bad epistemology in order to help somebody correct it. For one, it entails a desire on the part of the person to correct it. And I don't even know if a lot of people have such a desire to improve it. But I do know that until enough people have embraced a philosophy of reason, are engaging in critical thought, critical analysis, we're fucked as a country. Persephone's smiling at that. I think she's just smiling because I swore. But I want to ask Persephone's take on this. Persephone, what is your take on this topic? Hi.
Hi.
Have you been paying
I
attention?
Yes, but also no. What are you asking? I was listening, but I was making notes on something else.
Okay. What I'm talking about here is that we seem to have, as a, I don't like using as a society, a lot of people seem to have what Ian Gilmore has called a broken epistemology. Their means of acquiring and validating information is simply not functional. And the challenge is, what do we do about it? And I don't know, because we could sit here and talk all day. Now, I don't have a huge audience, obviously, but even if you have an audience of 10 million, if the people already tuning in already have a proper epistemology, then telling them about it doesn't do any good. And if they don't have it, how do you get them interested? How do you help them to get interested? And how do you help sort of filter through that? And I'm just wondering if you have experienced the same problem, or if you've seen the same problem.
So first of all, you can't educate someone who doesn't want to be educated. But there are some people who do want to be educated but don't know where to start. And then they will go to the most dumbed down explanation that they can. So when you want to educate, it's important to have content for. So in marketing, there's something called the funnel, right? A marketing funnel, and it's the same thing for education. The marketing funnel is 5 stages. The first stage is awareness, and then you get into consideration, evaluation, and eventually conversion. And it's the same thing. When you're trying to educate people, you need to be creating content for people at every stage of that funnel, right? So there's going to be some people that have only a vague awareness that they need to learn something, or a vague question in their mind, and you want to have content for all of those people, so that if someone is Googling, you and I spoke about this the other day, if someone is Googling, what are the consequences of late stage capitalism, to you know that late stage capitalism is a myth, but the people who are Googling that, they might not. And there might be some people who will argue with you in the comments, but there might also be some people who will come across that content and then want to dive deeper. So while you can't force people to educate themselves, you can make sure that there is content at every step of the way, so that when they do want to educate themselves and they're asking perhaps what to you is a silly question, that there is an answer for them. And that's how you do it.
So Ian Gilmore says, and this is something that's always fascinated me. He says, an interesting part is when some people show a proper epistemology in some areas, but a broken one in others. A famous example that I think of is that, well, if you look at, like, say, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, wrote the Sherlock Holmes books. Obviously a bright guy, believed in fairies. You look at Albert Einstein, brilliant physicist. He was either a socialist, outright communist, I'm not really sure, but certainly he was off the deep end when it came to economics. And I think that if somebody, like, you could have a guy, for instance, that he has to go to work, and let's say he works in manufacturing microphones. He understands the exactness that needs to go into making that microphone work. But when it comes to politics, he may not apply those same standards. And something that I learned long ago is more people think that they understand economics and politics without effort than virtually any other subject. People won't start, maybe they will, but not as much spouting off about, medical advice. But now it's getting worse. So I don't even know if that holds anymore like it used to. Because people now seem to think that you can just Google something and you have a full understanding of it.
So there is a thing called the illusion of explanatory depth, which is where people assume that they have a far more complex understanding of something than they really do. And one of the examples that people use when they're explaining this is, how does a zipper work? Because everybody thinks they know how a zipper works, but if you ask them to explain it, they won't be able to explain to you the exact mechanism. So that illusion of explanatory depth is a huge problem, because people, they do think that they know far more than they do. If they have even a surface level knowledge of something, they will think that they know everything. And the problem with a benefit of the internet and people being able to share their thoughts is that, yes, you're going to have people who know things sharing their knowledge, but you're also going to have people who have this illusion of explanatory depth, or who understand something wrong, explaining this thing to other people. And then you just have this game of broken telephone where, you've got someone explaining something badly and someone picking up that and then explaining that badly. So positives and negatives to people just being able to get on the internet and share their thoughts.
John Stuart Mill wrote in his book on liberty, basically, that free speech, when you have free speech, it allows the best ideas to thrive. That basically there's a competitive marketplace for ideas, and the good ideas will win out. I would never justify free speech in that way. But nonetheless, I always thought that he was right. I'm not so sure anymore. I'm not so sure that the best ideas win out.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. The most popular ideas win out. The people who can amplify their reach the most, the people who have ideas that fit into what other people want to believe is true. Those are the ideas that win.
There was once a bishop named Shelby Spong. He's a, what are they called, theologian. And I saw him, he was on a Fox Sunday in the news show, and they were asking about fundamentalist Christians, people who take every word in the Bible as literal. And they asked him, what gives rise to that? And he said, because people ultimately want simple answers to complex issues, which there just aren't, right? So I think about conspiracy theorists, for instance. All it is basically is they can dive in and memorize a bunch of things, learn to just dismiss anything that contradicts with what they've memorized, and now they can pretend to be intelligent, that they know things that other people don't know, that they're on the inside. It allows them to pretend to be intelligent. And there's an evasion going on, of course, but nevertheless, it allows them to do this. And then there's also the fact that you basically can join the club. That there's other like-minded people that you can fit in with. So now you've got that feeling of acceptance. And then they start to share information with each other, and you're screwed. No, yeah. I need an elaboration, not just a nod. You can't just do that.
What do you want me to add to that? That's all very true.
Maybe you could just compliment me.
You're very intelligent, and
thank you.
The chip tooth smile is also very adorable.
Oh, thank you so much. See, now was that so hard?
Yes, it was so hard. There's actually an interesting blog on the Capitalist Corner website, which I'm sure was written by me, which I'm sure Michael has read, about the rush to judgment. And it was specifically when the Charlie Kirk shooting happened. And there's a couple of interesting parts in that blog that speak to why people hop on this kind of information that's not validated. And a lot of that is tribalism and, wanting to have the answer. And that's also why people, buy into conspiracy theories. They want to feel special. They want to feel like they're part of a club. They want to feel more intelligent than the people around them. They don't fact check correctly. It's just so many reasons that people do.
By the way,
shit.
Great segue to advocate that they go to the Capitalist Corner and read the blog. Persephone writes some wonderful blogs everybody should be checking out. Jim Valiant says censorship absolutely does not help. No, you're absolutely correct about that. That's not the answer. That just makes things worse, because then you end up just getting the official narrative, and well, I think we know that we don't trust the official narratives. No Name says, I think the problem is that someone says something and people believe it without verification. Yes, that's very, 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 very true.
There is a caveat to that. Sometimes people will look for verification, but years ago, when this, you know, autism, vaccines cause autism,
Oh
when
boy.
that whole thing came out, people were trying to verify that information by searching vaccines cause autism, and there is a definite there can be a bias when you're searching for something depending on the way that you search it.
Yeah.
Depending on the words that you use, search engines and social media, if you use leading words, they're going to sometimes lead you to the conclusion that you've already decided
Sure.
in your mind.
Yeah.
And that is also something to be wary of when you are fact checking. Make sure that you're not saying that you're not just trying to confirm what you already know. What you already know.
Yeah. Yeah. For instance, I could plug something into a search engine, and say, or to an AI system and say, now tell me why I'm right.
Yeah.
And then it's going to look for reasons that I'm right. It'd be much different if I said, tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah. So another issue, like AI is great. AI has so many benefits. One significant drawback is that AI, a lot of platforms, they use AI to regurgitate content that exists on other websites. The online economy benefits from loads of impressions, right? So the more people who visit your website, the more money that you can make on ads. So people will create a piece of content and go, the Charlie Kirk is alive. And the AI scrapers will pick this up and they will run this across multiple websites, because they've seen it and it's news. So there is a market for disinformation, and it's not even malicious or purposeful. It's just, unfortunately, AI can't tell you what is true, because those kinds of tools, they don't check what is true. They just regurgitate what they see, and bots pick up on what other bots are posting, and it can be very dangerous. So if you are searching for something, Charlie Kirk is still alive? Question mark. You might get, 15 websites that have all posted the same article with the same source, but it's just bots regurgitating bots that all came from one random Twitter post.
So,
So
first of all, fantastic, Persephone. Hello, Nicole Hingle. Nicole Hingle's here. We love Nicole. Thank you for being here. First of all, Persephone, awesome analysis. Very, very good. We have some stuff coming up on the Capitalist Corner Patreon that we might, we're going to put out some videos, short clips. You got the short clips that I sent you, correct? So I can
I did.
delete them now. Okay, that's awesome. Jim Valiant doesn't know yet, but I'm going to be asking him to make some videos with me on a variety of topics. Plus, we're going to do the weekend stuff. We've got some other stuff that's going to be coming on for the Everyday Ethics Patreon. A lot of very, very good stuff going on. So you should not only like, share, and subscribe to the Capitalist Corner channel, but also subscribe to the Patreons.
Also, I just want to address Race Jacobson. I would absolutely not be surprised if there was a Charlie Kirk's death was fake conspiracy group. There is. There are loads of posts. I've seen a couple of TikToks of people recreating. So if anybody has seen the Charlie Kirk, the actual gunshot, recreating how his shirt moved. So there is it does exist. There are plenty of people out there who believe that his death was fake, and it's actually kind of horrible because it's gross. The man died in front of his kids. Whatever you think about him, that's fucked up. I'm sorry.
Well, that's the capitalist thought of the day. That's fucked up. No, I'm kidding. I kid. The capitalist thought of the day is going to be regardless of all the bad news in the world, and that's what comes across the feed, that's what's in the magazines, there is good in the world. That's the first thing. But the next thing is epistemology, which we've been discussing here, reason, thought, is necessarily an individual endeavor, as Jim Valiant and I talk about in my latest episode of The Rational Egoist. It's necessarily something you have to do for yourself. You can't make anybody else do it. But as long as you maintain your tie to reality, as long as you maintain your rationality, your critical thought, you are helping yourself and you are helping to advance the cause of capitalism. Ayn Rand says free minds and free markets are corollaries, and I think that there's a reciprocal causation there. I think that when people think freely, and I mean think freely, so you actually have to be thinking, they will advocate capitalism, they will advocate freedom, and I think when people are free, they, in the political sense, they will tend to think more freely. So that's what we all can do right now, is just continue to think freely, continue to think rationally, and to pursue the best that we can for our own lives. Okay, Persephone, do you have any question? Ask a question for them, or do I got to ask it?
I have a great question. It's kind of related to what we've been talking about.
Awesome.
Even if you don't believe it, do you have a favorite conspiracy theory?
Even if you don't believe it, do you have a favorite conspiracy theory? I think that's a good one.
Just so everybody knows, I do have a favorite conspiracy theory, and my favorite conspiracy theory is that the moon is a hologram. That is my favorite conspiracy theory.
I didn't know that wasn't.
I don't believe it at all, but some of the proof videos out there are 10 out of 10.
All right.
So
well,
yes,
look,
what is your favorite conspiracy theory? What is your favorite conspiracy theory?
And Nicole Hingle says, thinking is always a good thing. Thank you very, very much, Nicole. Okay, look, check out The Rational Egoist. Check out today, Everyday Ethics. Check out Self-Made Soul on the weekends. Check it all out. Go to the American Capital. Go to AmericanCapitalistParty.org, right? .org. Go to thecapitalistcorner.org. Go to patreon.com/thecapitalistcorner. Do it all. Continue to check us out. Continue to help us grow. Continue to help us make a better world, a more rational planet. Go ahead, Persephone. You got something to say, I could tell.
Yes, also don't forget that the Capitalist Corner is also now available on Spotify. So if you do want to listen instead of watch, the episodes are now available on Spotify. You can
Is
find
Everyday Ethics also?
Everyday Ethics is indeed on Spotify. I will share both of the links so that Mark and Mike can retweet them. So
I will do it. Will do. Thank you, Persephone. Thank you, all of you, and I hope to see you at 2:30 Eastern Time today. Remember, until tomorrow when we will be back, always check your premises.